Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. I'm going to see about having a go at these Cymbidiums today. They're out of bloom now. They're quite small plants, or this one certainly is. It does have a back bulb, which I will probably just take off. And it has two bulbs and it's just started a new growth. This is the ice flow. There was the white one with the pink tinges. Nice blooms. These pots are very fragile, shall we say. Yeah, they're rubbish. But I think they were. These were potted up to be potted, to be repotted, if you know what I mean. Some lovely new roots coming. So timing is all of it with orchids. The problem with Cymbidiums is they are quite difficult sometimes to get the old media out. Now, I don't think this has been in that media that long. I'm not sure about that. But we've certainly got some good roots here. We've got some new ones starting in places. If you are doing Cymbidiums, you can get into quite a battle sometimes dealing with the roots, and you're holding the plant. You tend to forget where you're holding the plant. I mean, I've got a big bulb and a back bulb. What I'm not doing is grabbing hold of anywhere near that new growth, because that could snap off quite easily. So even though I'm turning the plant, I'm taking care where my top hand is. And it's not essential to get all of the old media out. If it worries you about being a bit brutal with Cymbidium roots, go and have a watch of Jim Durrant on the Mathers Foundation website and watch him doing Cymbidiums. He just rips them apart, and then he cuts most of the roots off. He says, "Oh, we don't want all that. That's old stuff." So the roots that are attached to the old bulbs, he just cuts them off. So we don't want them. We want new ones. But he's a lot more brutal than I would be prepared to be. But the thing is, I don't think these have been in these pots that long. You know, they have come from Mathers. And may well have been potted up to sell, which is why they're in these. Right. I think I'm going to leave it at that. It's an incredible set of roots here. There's nothing really old and dead. These are all reasonable roots. There's a few manky ones. Let's get the scissors, get them all dirty as well. Yeah, there are a few manky ones, so we'll attack those a bit at a time. Just got to squeeze them basically. If they're soft and spongy, then they're dead. Just get rid of them. There's no point in keeping them. The main problem you get with a root mass like this is where is the end? Or where's the start, more importantly. So that you make sure that you pull all the dead bit out. If you're going to cut it, then remove it. And then I'm going to take some of the bulk off, because I want these to go in much smaller pots. So I'm just taking the long ends off, and that section that I'm taking off where I'm cutting these roots, there are very few, if any, new root tips. They're all in other places, so we should be leaving ones like this nice new root tip. I think that will do. All these seem reasonably firm. And we've got so we've got a nice little root system. I've still got some I want to take off because they're long and dangly. So we'll take those back up. That was one good root tip just taken off. As I said, you've got to go careful. But I don't want too big a root system to go in the new pot because it won't fit. I am actually going to put these in smaller pots. They like to be tight. I think that'll do. Nope, still got one here. A dangler. Yeah, that'll another one drops straight down. Again, there's no new root tips on that one, so you can take that one back up. There we go, that'll do. That should fit in a new pot quite nicely. We'll tuck it back in there for now. And then we'll do the other one. I'm reluctant to do any more than two because they can be hard work. Now this one is the it's got a label in it with nothing written on it. So this was the oh, I forget what the colour was. I think this was the pure white one. I can't remember, I'd have to look it up, but we will need to do new tags for both of them. Now this one is a much bigger plant. It's got 3 leaved bulbs and 2 strong new growths. So this is a bigger plant. Also having 2 new growths makes the choices of where to grab hold of it not so obvious. Right, so again, nice root system, I think. Yeah. There's another reason I want these repotted is that this media that they're in is it's not holding water. I don't know what its basic component is, but that one we've just done that felt quite wet. They were both watered at the same time, and this one feels quite dry. So I think the water's running through and not absorbing. And it might be that because the mix has got dry, it now needs a good soak to get it wet again. But as I'm taking it off, it doesn't really matter now, does it? Again, we've got some nice root tips and some good existing roots. And again, I'm checking where I'm grabbing hold of the plant before we start damaging the new growths. The last thing you want to do. And in theory, on this plant with 3 good sized bulbs, 2 new growths, we should get 2 spikes. With that previous one with only 2 leaved bulbs and 1 new growth, we might not get any blooms on that one. That one might miss a year. But another good set of roots. There's some manky ones in the middle here, but not many. Not really enough to worry about. Not so many growing root tips on this one, but new roots will come from where these growths are, so the new roots will come from this area here. And existing roots may well branch out as well. It's not always about growing new roots from the base of the plant, not with Cymbidiums. You can get roots that just decide to branch, so there'll be growing tips in the middle of the plant, at the bottom of the plant, all over the place, but again a good root system. Now as that's got 2 new growths on opposite sides of the plant, that's going to need a bigger pot than the previous one. So that's going to be the problem now, because as you can probably hear in the background, it's raining. And the only Cymbidium pots I've got up here at the moment are the new ones I've bought, that are the big ones, for the much bigger plants. So means I've got to go out in the rain down to the shed and see what else I've got. The small one, I'm going to cram that in the smallest pot I can get it in. If I can get it in that, Yep, so that's one done. Lovely small pot. So I've got a manky root there that I miss. Yes, so that one will go in there. That fits in there nicely. So that's that one sorted. But it's going to need a bigger one than that for that one. And I don't know what I've got. I'd see if I can get away with using one of the ones up here, I will. And don't forget, when you're mucking about with orchids, my hands have now got grit on them. Yeah, and I've got an itchy eye. Well, those two don't go together very well. Be careful what you do with your hands. What about over here? What about that? Is that too big? Is that too big? Nope, that'll do. So there we go, I don't have to go outside. Oh, I'm pleased about that. I'm very pleased, in fact. You'll get away with using those two. Right, so I'll have a clear up, sort out some mix. We won't need a huge amount to fill that pot, we will need a bit more for that, so I'll have to try and judge it. And as usual, I'll be back. Right, so this is the mix left over from the last Cymbidium we did. And try and get these weeds out. All of this set of Cymbidiums from Mather's had weeds in them, so they've obviously spent some time either near something in the nursery that had weeds, or they've been outside. But either way, they're a bit of a nuisance, these weeds. So I just keep pulling them out, and it must be a case of germinating seeds, because they're not obviously getting anywhere near big enough to flower and produce more seeds, so it's the ones that are already there. Right, so this was a mix of small and medium bark with some pumice, some perlite and some garden compost, potting compost, the sort that you'd use in your garden basically. So we'll put some in the bottom for those lower roots to get into. Give it a twist. That will encourage the roots to spin away from the edge and not get stuck. Like that. And we'll move the plant away from the back edge and get some media down there. Now obviously we're not going to get new roots in that area because that's a leafless bulb which I have left on. It's quite a small plant, so it's not a strong plant. It's only got 2 leaved bulbs and one of those is quite small, so it's not a strong plant as Cymbidiums go. So I'd like there to be plenty of room for where the new growth's going to go, and we won't get new roots from the back area because it's a leafless bulb. If it was separated from the plant and put in a little pot on its own to try and get it to regenerate and produce a shoot, then obviously it would then produce some new roots. But the new roots would not go with the old leafless back bulb, they would go with the new shoot that came on the plant. So now Cymbidiums like to not only be quite tight in their pot, they also like to be quite tight in their mix, which is why you see a lot of people that have bought a Cymbidium have trouble even getting them out of the pot because they've been absolutely jammed in there by whoever the nursery was. They do like to just be tight, they like to be crammed. So that's what we've done. We've squashed it all in, down the sides, and that will do for that one. So that's that one in. That fits quite nicely in that pot actually. Now whether I'm going to have enough media to get this one in, because this is it's a bigger pot, but then it's a bigger plant as well. So we might have enough. Otherwise I should just have to mix up another batch. And that does mean going outside because the potting compost lives outside. Right, let's see what we can do then. There's such a lot of roots on this plant that we might actually have enough media, although I doubt it somehow. I mean, just covering the bottom of the pot's used nearly half of it, so I don't think we're going to get away with it. Never mind. Now this has got to go, whereas the other one got pushed to the back because it had a leafless back roll, this one has two new growths that are on opposite sides of the plant. Now it's unlikely there will be any more new growths on this plant this time round, so all we're worried about really is leaving room for these two new growths to mature, which is the middle of the pot. So that's what I've done, and we may be lucky, depending on where the next set of new growths come from, we might be lucky and be able to leave it in the pot 2 years. I mean, the way I'm potting my Cymbidiums with the, so I've got a great void underneath this plant which I can see from this side, so I'm filling that up first before I start doing anything else. And I can see all the media just running into that void. I don't want that left hollow, and just doing that is going to use up the rest of this media, so we will need to mix some more, which are a nuisance. Gotta be done. I think we're nearly there now. As far, on about filling the void up, not filling the pot up, we're nowhere near filling the pot up. Right, so we will tip the rest of what's in this bag out, and then I shall have to break off again while I get some more sorted. Yeah, it's nowhere near enough. I haven't even started round this side. This is all just going down into the gaps. So yes, I shall have to mix some more up. So I'll be back. Okay, that's a new lot. This is a base of small bark. So the majority of it is small bark. Some medium bark is added, mainly for drainage purposes, because larger pieces will allow the water to go through. It's been raining virtually all morning here. If the Cymbidiums were outside, they'd be wringing wet, so they have to be able to drain. Now, okay, when it's a long dry period, it means I'll have to water a lot more often, but that's better than having them soggy and dripping wet, holding far too much water. That's not a good place for roots to be. So that's what the larger bark's for, is to help with drainage. And then the pumice is for a bit of weight. It's stones after all, and the perlite again, that holds some moisture, so that will help with dry periods. So it's like a contradiction. You've got stuff in there for drainage, but you've also got stuff that helps hold water. Right, so we can go back to filling up now. So we've got a lot of gaps down the sides here, so we just keep tapping. When you've got gaps like this and a large root system that's got lots of holes in, just keep tapping, and as long as it goes down, you're not full yet. You haven't found all the gaps. If it keeps going down, there's room to get more in. When it stops, then you just top up. And I think that's whereabouts we are now. Right, so now we do the let's get it in there tight. I only ever press down the sides, but I press hard with Cymbidiums. I really do pack them in. And then I'm going to have to go and find a video, probably the one where I came back from Wisley with these two plants, to find out which one's which. Because first of all I haven't kept the tags with the plants, and one of the tags has got nothing written on it. But one of these didn't have a name. So that would have been the one with no tag. But I'm quite happy to go and look up when I got them, have a look and see what the plants look like. Not the blooms, they're gone. So we have a look at what the plant looked like. And obviously one's got 3 bulbs and the other one's got 2 and a back bulb. So they are obviously different. They'll then be in bloom in that video, which means I'll also talk the names in the video, so I can then do some new tags. Right, so there we go. That's our 2 Cymbidiums potted up. And then what I like to do is when I've got roots hanging out like this, because they look untidy, I like to trim them off. Because the chances of them going down in the media are relatively slim. But what we don't do is throw them in the media in the tray, because that's going to go in the bag. Just to tidy it up. Now this pot is far too full. When I pour the water on, half the media is going to come out. But gradually it will sink down and it won't be quite so close to the top. As time goes on, that will naturally happen. Ooh, a great big lump of roots there. Like I said, don't worry about taking roots off of a Cymbidium. They will grow again. And all of the roots that you've potted, the ones down in the pot, they will happily branch out and grow on. And next time you come to repot it, next time I come to do this one, which is probably going to be 2 years' time, it might be 1. It depends how big those 2 growths get to. And then it's not that will determine it, because certainly one of them will be quite close to the edge of the pot. What will determine it will be where the next new growths come out. And if they come out between this new growth and the side of the pot, there's nowhere for them to be. However, if the new growth comes out this side of this one, it's got all that space there. So we won't know for some time whether it can stay in there for 2 years or not. Certainly the media won't need changing, so they won't get repotted for that reason. This has got nothing in it that's going to go off for a very, very long time. 4 years, possibly 5 years worth of media not going off. The bark will last that long, the perlite and the, you know what I didn't do? I didn't add the potting compost into the new mix, did I? Alright, we'll try this one without. Some of the ones I potted up at the beginning of last year didn't have any in, and they've grown well and bloomed. So it's either that or I've got to unpot the whole thing and start again, which I'm not prepared to do. So yes, so slightly different mix this time without the potting media in. And I must remember that, because I shall bag this up ready to use again, that it hasn't got the potting compost in it. And next time I get it out the bag we will mix some in. As I said, that was an error on my part. That pot would do to top it up a bit. Right, so there we go. That's a couple more Cymbidiums crossed off the list. And we've got to the point now, there's another one in bloom over there on the table that's in the same type of pots, those white flimsy things like that. There's another one of those that came from Wisley at the same time. That's still in bloom, so that can wait. And then I've got another one which is the Cali Night, which a few blooms are starting to go over now. But as long as it's in bloom, it can stay in there. But that again is in a fibrous mix that I want to change. So there's that one to do. That's already got new growths growing on it. And then there's a couple of the larger ones that have just got to be potted on. So they've got to be taken out, a little bit of media teased out, but not too much, because they were potted by me, so they haven't been in the media long and it won't have broken down. But the roots will probably have completely filled the pot. So all I've got to do is put them in a bigger pot and put new media around the edges. And we've got a couple to do like that. Now those I don't mind doing quite a few of in one go, because they hopefully won't be too... You won't want to go out, it's raining. Come on then. You going out? No, you're just looking, aren't you? It's amazing, he obviously can see the rain and the wet, because he certainly can't hear it, like and we can hear it on the roof, but he can't. So he's gone up to the door, had a look and thought, nah, they don't like getting their feet wet, do they? Right, so there we go, there's a couple of Cymbidiums done, and there's still more to do. What I'm trying to do, I know it seems a bit pedantic to work this way, but I'm trying to clear a genus at a time. And there's still a few more Cymbidiums to get at, but the trouble is I've still got some in bloom, so I can't do them all yet. And my battery's about to go, I've just noticed. There's a big black blob that should be green. In a minute that'll go yellow, then it will go red, and then it goes gone. So we'll stop there. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.